It is the Flow Friday Sports Show. There's a massive weekend of Mallee netball to preview, and we've managed to get Nicole McMahon. She's extremely busy super mum, but we've got her again back for another week. Nicole, lovely to have you on the line. How you doing?
Hello, Ellis. I'm good. Thanks. How are you?
Very good, thank you. We love your commitment here on the Flow. We really appreciate your time. Now, a massive week of results to get through before we preview this weekend's finals games. So we'll start with your club. Unfortunately for yourself, Nicole, the girls going down 64-56, a narrow defeat, but Murrayville too strong in the end.
Yeah, a very surprising defeat, this one. I think I actually got 3 from 3 wrong last week, but this was one I was sure I thought Lameroo were going to win against Marvel. Marvel have only won the one game, but gosh, they played a fantastic game. And if they, I think, had played more games like this during the season, they probably would have been knocking on that top four's door. I think they have had a few ins and outs, and they really clicked on Saturday. That, and it was their final game with their Bulldog shed. It literally is a shed, their club room. That's all getting knocked down. They've got a huge, over $1 million development happening. So there was people everywhere. Lots of people come to the community to celebrate that, which was really cool. So, yeah, the doggy girls were on fire. Kirsty Heitzy and Stacey Moser-Bruns, especially in that goal ring. It was really an attacker's game. Lameroo's Abby Maynard had a ripper of a game too. So you get, to 64 goals, Marvel 56, Lameroo. I think they ran out of room on the score sheet, even though there were so many goals scored. Lameroo, yeah, they should have done it. They probably started the game too late. They started the game in the fourth quarter, and I think they won that one convincingly. But, I said it every week, netball is a game of 4 quarters. You can really just win it in one game, but in one quarter. But Lameroo, yep, too little too late, unfortunately.
Yeah, look, I'll be honest with you, Nicole, I didn't want to go in too hard there because I thought, she's had a bit of a challenging week, and if I go in a bit harder there, she's probably going to throw the phone out the window. But what on earth happened? How did Lameroo drop points in this game?
Oh, they did have Emily Tonkin out, who's goal defence. She's a very handy player. She's been in Team of the Week quite a few weeks. But in the end, netball, you get every second set of pass. So Lameroo had their opportunity. It was just one of those days. But Lameroo have kind of been on and off, 1 week on, 1 week off. So I'm hoping that was their off week, and they're saving it all for the semi-final this weekend, and they're going to come out guns blazing. But as much as Lameroo didn't have a great game, Marvel really did play a fantastic game of netball. As I said, those goalies, Aaliyah Heintzy feeding really well and just picking off lots of balls in the centre court. Lameroo are going to have more control of their game and just play their own game this week if they want to see themselves get into the prelim.
Well, one side that certainly didn't have a banana peel type affair is Peak. They took care of business against BDT, and 52-45 the final score. No real massive thumping defeats. Maybe that indicates that everyone's sort of taking it a little easier towards finals and trying to be as fresh as they can for the finals. But nevertheless, Peak getting the job done, but not convincingly against BDT.
No, and all the games were within the 8 goals. So I think that shows how close the competition is as well this year. When you've got as close a competition as ours, I don't think it matters if there's 9 teams or 6 or 5. There is some really good netball being played. So this was BDT's last game in the Mallee Association. As I said, they are unfortunately departing us, amalgamating with Meningie next year. So we're very sad to see them go. BDT have been probably the most competitive A-grade netball side since they joined us. I'm not sure how many premierships. I was going to look it up, but yeah, as I've had wouldn't say busy week, just not the week I expected, with some very sick kids and still working out that newborn juggle, if I can claim that. He's now 8 weeks. But I was going to do some research because I think they would have won at least 4 premierships since they've been with us in the Mallee League. They've had some great players come through, and it will be interesting to see what that does to the standard of netball as they depart. But I think it would also just about be the first year that BDT haven't made that top 4. And I thought they were going to shake some things up on Saturday and get up against the Peak girls, but they haven't, and that means Peak have now gone into second position. But it was a really Really good game from both sides, but BDT, gave it a good crack, but just couldn't get over Peak. A few good matchups there. Kiara in wing attack for Peak, coming in against Eddie Burling in wing defence. Two really hard workers there on the wing. I haven't spoken a lot about them this year, but they really do work hard and do well there on the wings. Well done to Peak. As I said, etching into that second spot coming into finals next week.
Yeah, I had to bite my tongue there. I was really tempted to make another peaking at the right time joke, but we're not going to do that this week.
No, it is very true though. Like a few weeks ago, I was thinking, Peak are going to get knocked out here. But no, now they're at top two. So there you go.
There you go, indeed. Pinaroo, they fell short to Karoonda. What do you make of this game?
I think Pinaroo, they are dying to come up against Karoonda again. They haven't bet them this season. Well, not many clubs have. Only Peak have won against them. But unfortunately, they had a late draw out with Steph Heineke, their goal defence, unable to play due to being unwell. So they did welcome Elsie Nichols, who came into wing defence. He gave it a red-hot crack. She's a great little junior player there, and I think we'll definitely see more of her in that A-grade senior side in years to come. But 7 goals, so once again, a pretty close margin. They were with them right up into that first quarter, but Karoonda are finishers. They know how to finish a game, and they just ran away with it. But a very high-quality match. Very good defensive game. Not a huge score there, 37 Pinaroo to Karoonda 44. Once again, strong players from Karoonda, the same names that come up every week, Shaylin Paik, Kiara Paik, they have got a really solid lineup there, Karoonda. Pinaroo, I know they'll be wanting to win against Lameroo this week, not only to obviously progress to the prelim, but just to get another goal against Karoonda, because they've had a few really close matches, and I don't think they've had their full lineup when they've actually come up against them. Yeah,
there it is. Well, those are the final results from the final round of home and away netball in the Mallee competition. We'll just quickly pause and just review the table. So Karoonda first, Peak second, Pinaroo third, Lameroo fourth, BDT and Murrayville finishing as 5th and 6th respectively. Nicole, before we get into the fixtures for our finals games on Saturday, just tell us about the team of the week, the final team of the week, in fact.
Yeah, final team of the week. So to wrap it up, and I reckon this is one of the a very in some aspects, I think the centre court might be similar to who we'll see in the team of the year. So the team of the year is done a bit differently. All the club players, they each put together their top 10 nominations. They do 3 in goals, 4 in centre court, 3 in defence, and then the association put that together to do a team of the year, which is really cool. It's quite, it often brings out different results to what we get as the association votes. Because in association votes, there can be a really strong player that just flies under the radar and doesn't get many votes. The opposite might happen as well, where you have a player that gets lots of votes from the umpire but doesn't actually make that team of the year. Might be because other players, might not want to have that player on their team. They might be intimidated by it, or they just, don't see what the umpires see. So it's really interesting. It's a bit of fun. And then obviously this team of the week is definitely a bit of fun. The coach has kind of given me a few nominations each, and we try and muddle them together to get a bit of a team of the week. So this week for the final round 15, we had in goals Stacey Morza-Bruns and Kirsty Heinze, and both from Marvel, and Abby Maynard from Lameroo. In the centre court, Abby Keogh, Robin Lehman, Emily Richo and Kiara Paik. And in defence, Adelia Stevenson, Shaylin Paik, Natasha Venning, and substitutes were Alicia Chinner, she's now married, and Dallas Mary. So well done to those girls.
Yeah, absolutely. Great job too, Nicole. Now, with the finals, we'll talk about the A-grade game first, Pinaroo and Lameroo, and then the floor's yours. You tell us about any other grades that are going to be having their finals showcased across Saturday.
Yeah, so this week it is, our association is a little bit confusing. We have first semi is 3rd versus 4th, and every year I think I have to check this. So for the first semi on Saturday, playing at Lameroo at 12 p.m. So for the A grade, which is, the match of the day, we have Pinaroo versus Lameroo. So Lameroo are the reigning premiers. I don't think I've said that for a few weeks. So I did start off the year quoting that quite a few times. So getting their home game advantage as well. Pinaroo, though, not sure how much support they'll have there. They are the only Pinaroo team playing throughout their netball and football. Lameroo, I hope we get a few supporters there to get behind them. That will be umpired by Marcia Carmack and Michelle Carling. So if you look at the lineup, it is a really close lineup for both teams when you kind of go position by position. Lameroo, they've got Abby Maynard in. Well, this is assumed as well. This is kind of what they've played with, so this is what I'm assuming will happen. So no one quite knew if the coaches try and do something different. Abby Maynard in goal shooter will be coming up against Emma Dabnett in goalkeeper for Pinaroo. These two players would have played against each other a lot, both previously in B grade and this year in A grade. Abby Maynard's had a few cracker weeks, and Emma Dabnett, though, a very solid goalkeeper. So those two will be sure to have a good tussle. Hoping Abby's on her goals. I know she's been practising, and if she can sink those first few in, I think she'll be on fire tomorrow. In a goal attack for Lameroo, we've got Katrina Bell up against Steph Heineke for Pinaroo. Katrina, she's got fantastic speed. She is only one of two players that Lameroo have playing from their grand final team last year, but she is a very handy player and a good finals player. So Steph Heineke, she's been in that team of the week quite often. Very strong body, really good leadership and talk as well. So those two will be a great matchup. In at wing attack for Lameroo, Shauna Chaplin up against wing defence, Tash Bedding for Pinaroo. Tash, I'd say, one of the strongest wing defences in our comp. Shauna's been a great pick-up for Lameroo, coming from Menengi. So those two sure to have a good tussle. Lameroo centre, Alana Bowley, the second player that's from our last year's grand final team, absolute pocket rocket, and also a very good finals performer, winning our premiership best on court last year, up against Chloe Shunky, who's came back after a few years off and has had quite a good season. Wing defence for Lameroo, Bailey Vogt, previously from Pinaroo, so she'll be really keen to win this one, and she's improved leaps and bounds this year. And up against Abby Keogh, not much needs to be said there. She's been playing league. She's actually, I believe she's not playing Friday, so she'll be quite fresh. In the goal defence, Emily Tolkien, spoke a lot about her, a very good goal defence. Up against young Sophie Sherrard from Pinaroo, her debut full season in Pinaroo for A grade. She's been doing very well, consistent little player. And then for Lameroo, I believe it might be Emmy Zirk. So she's come up she was C grade association best and fairest, first years in seniors last year. She's come up, played a bit of A and B grade, but generally when she's matched up against Pinaroo, she's done really well. And she'll be coming up against Lara Moody, who has quite a bit of premiership and grand final and finals experience. So I think we'll see her perform well. Now, as I said, that's the assumed lineup. Lameroo have got a few other players on their bench. They don't have B grades playing, so they may utilise some of those players. Pinaroo also have Zara Keogh, who is a very handy player, has been struggling with a bit of injury. So I think we could see her in just about any one of those positions. Now, I always pick Lameroo. They are obviously my side, and without a doubt, I'll pick them again. But this is guaranteed to be a fantastic match. So I really encourage anyone that's in the region to get to Lameroo at 12 p.m. to check out that A grade match. The other matches we have playing just quickly in the B grade, we've got Peak versus BDT. Now, Peak, I think, are in just about every other netball game, so they're sure to have some great support. And they are known for having their supporters on the sidelines. They used to have cowbells and foghorns and all sorts. They're coming up against BDT, and they are last year's B grade premiership winners. They're going to be umpired by Danielle Nichols and Carly Heinze. This is also guaranteed to be a ripper. The last two games they've played have been within one goal, Peak winning both of them. And although, when you look at the ladder, there's a few wins different between them, this is going to be a really good matchup once again. In the C grade, we've got Peak versus Karoonda. Another great lineup. Their last game was within a goal as well. So that will be umpired by Amber Seckham and Lucy Dow. In the under-15s, we've got BDT versus Peak. Look, once again, last week they played each other and there was only 7 goals of difference, with BDT taking that one out. Umpired by Dione Kerr and Cindy Rook. And the under-13s, which I'm really excited to watch, we've got Lameroo versus Peak, umpired by Jessica Kerr and Tam Westy. Fantastic to see Jess umpiring, a young, very good netballer there, and also putting her hand up for umpiring, which is what we like to see. I'm excited for this game. I've got my niece, Evie Denning, so good luck to Evie, who I think will be maybe playing in goal shooter with her pal Lou Bowman. So we don't, although we've got a lot of netballers in our McMahon family, we don't have a lot of goalies. And she's, I think, going to be playing in goals, as I said. So hope you have a great game, Evie. Lameroo have, had a convincing few wins against Peak. Peak did win one match against Lameroo, but that was because Lameroo forfeited due to COVID and sickness. So we'll see how they go. But hopefully Lameroo can get that one over the line. The winners from this week go into the prelim, and they'll come up against the losers from the second semi, which gets played next Saturday, and that will be the first versus second teams playing off.
There we have it. Excellent work, Nicole McMahon. Really appreciate your time. Enjoy the finals action tomorrow, and just have a blast out there watching all the netball. Thanks so much for bringing us your comprehensive takes on everything out of the Mallee netball competition, and we'll speak to you next week.
Thanks, Ellis. Cheers.